Hello, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this session is the after session zero, but still session zero because that's the way legacy and free from the yoke work. So this is our point 0.5 session that will hopefully roll into our session one. We did clan building and world building last time for this game of samurai fantasy. Today we're going to trail on to that a little bit and then build our characters and get rolling into play, kind of setting up who the emperor is, doing that first court holding for the emperor and getting things onto the table, seeing agendas and playing out those things. This session is part of Open Hearth Gaming Community, which is an online gaming club / community. It is October 10th as I'm recording this. In 2 weeks exactly, we will open free signups for an open gaming weekend. We're doing November 10th through 12th. Anyone can come and sign up and play. We've got about a dozen and a half sessions plus a couple of seminars on the calendar. And I know a number of people who are adding new things. It's free. We do this to showcase new games. We do this in case there are people who maybe haven't played online and are want to try it out and get a feel for how it works. They can come in and sign up and try out things. And we can also show off who we are as a community. There will be a link to everything about the Shared Hearth in the show notes, so you can check that out. So just as a reminder, as with all of the games that we play here on Open Hearth, we have a layered set of safety tools. We have lines and veils. We have our open door policy. We have the X card. I'll quickly go through what we have established on the table for lines and veils. I won't necessarily go through this each session, but if I notice there are changes, additions, things like that, we'll try and pick up on those. Right now, we have hard lines on sexual assault and torture by the PCs. We also have veils, meaning fade to black, or if it's referenced off screen, on eye injuries, homophobia, racism, sexual content, slavery, torture by PCs, and transphobia. So all of those things are things that we will fade out to. Notice that torture by PCs is trumped by the line on that, so it's not an issue, not a thing we will have in play. And then the last thing is the ask first, which means if we were to head towards that topic, lean into that topic, we would check in before we did anything with that. Last time we did quite a bit of world building. We developed some notes on who and what the foe is. The foe is a fallen lord whose rage, pushed by a dark conspiracy, broke and summoned down this broken kami, this broken spirit into themselves. And this foe infected and tainted people. We know some of the signs of this corruption: inhuman beauty, sleepwalking, strange obsessions. And of course, there's another one that our Defender clan knows about that is kind of hidden away. And there are still some things that are out there as threats out in the world from this foe, diabolical items, places where emotions are heightened. There are shape changers and the undead who are out there in the world, as well as transformed flora and fauna that, again, our defenders know about, but perhaps other people do not. We have placed our 3 clans on the map already, which was the Crow Azalea, Dawn Chrysanthemum, and Ghost Iris. We'll be adding in Kales, Brass Wisteria in a moment. I'll just remind you that we also have some minor clans. You can find those on the clans tab at the far right side. We've got sort of the playbook for the Emperor. And then below that are the 4 minor clans that we have, or secondary clans that we have. Eternal Sakura, essentially the based kind of on the calculating clans playbook. The Imperial Scholars, the Iron Rose, who are reorganized Ronin, and Onyx Plum, who are a minor clan of builders. So they're there. They have their own traits, and they have some surpluses and needs as well. So those are things that are in there. So let's start. Kale, tell us what you were very generous to watch the video and have worked through all this stuff. I really appreciate that. Again, tell us what you have chosen for your clan. Give us the overview on how you're picturing them.
Yeah, so I'll be the clan I picked was the Borderlanders. And I so I sort of have a question of like I'm not sure how much I'm stretching things. I know we've sort of talked about, the individual clans have sort of their own kind of domains. My thought for the Borderlanders was actually that it was sort of almost three kind of loosely connected families or families and their associated, sort of like almost sort of three smaller clans that had sort of banded together, that were joined together by more of their some sort of shared outsiderness.
Sure.
And so the thought I had, and I was gonna, this was going into a little bit into the like map too, that I didn't go and modify, but sort of um the swath of border kind of in the not in the north was going to be
Uh-huh.
one of the families in sort of more of a kind of a desert uh landscape. I was thinking maybe sort of a little bit of a like steps type in the mountains in the corner near the cursed bridge.
So kind of spread out, but still kind of connected to one another. Okay.
Right. And then the last, this is sort of the third. I wanted to check with you, Mike. You've got what I assume is a wall next to Ghost Iris. Is that what that was representing? The sort of dotted lines?
We have not.
Yeah, that was already in
Yeah.
that
Oh,
was
that was
already
in
an
there.
element
Okay.
on the
We
map.
haven't
So we
established what
haven't
that
talked about what
is.
it is.
Yeah.
Fair. Well, so I saw it. It was like, this looks like there's the defenders there. This looks like a wall. My thought was to maybe extend that thing that kind of looked to me like a forest at the top of that, and kind of make it a jungle going down. So there's sort of jungle off to the west, the steps up, sort of foothills leading up to the mountains, and then the desert to the north. And those are sort of the three kind of connected areas where the sort of nomadic borderlanders are spanning. Um, was my
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah. Sort of Portland, Seattle, and over kind of area there in our northwest. Okay. I like that.
Um,
Yeah.
The the other thing I was going to suggest is if you wanted to defend that wall, I can move my capital somewhere else.
so I actually had my thought was sort of that where I was sort of going was that the kind of all of these groups of borderlanders are sort of on the fringes, and that their capital is actually up in the mountains above the steppes, and it was less of a kind of active capital and more of a place where there's a gathering every 5 years or 10 years or whatever. It's the sort of the converging of the nomadic tribes to like meet and reconnect and sort of sort out who's going to be leading them for the next era or whatever. So that was sort of where I was leaning with that. And that the folks down in the wall might be in the sort of jungle side of the wall. There is and then the defenders might be.
Let me pause and ask this, because I think this
Sure.
would make a difference here. And this is kind of question for you and Mike. Is this wall a thing that was built to fight the foe? Is it a thing that was built for some other threat in the recent past, or is this an ancient pre-imperial object? Mike, I want to give you first bite at that.
So I think I was thinking that it was an ancient pre-imperial thing. I'm trying
Okay.
to remember. We had some options for our primary holding, and I think I said something along the lines of it having a strange foreign embassy. for the clan center. So I was just assuming whatever that foreign embassy is, it's from people from the other side of the wall.
Oh, okay. So ancient, large thing. Your family that's associated with this is at the northern part in the jungles of that. So we do have some space there. Okay. That sounds good to me. Let's walk through some of the other things we'll know. And anything that we don't hit, we'll have you add on the fly. We've got what your surplus and needs are. For brass wisteria, what is the threat that is facing your clan or gathering of clans right now?
Yeah. So the threat is vanishings. There have been, this sort of it's hard to keep track of everyone, but because there is a lot of kind of nomadic groups running around, but they've been noticing that sort of maybe small groups or individuals are going missing in an unexplained fashion.
Okay. So very open on that. I like that. What did you choose for the things for your customs and then doctrine and feature?
Yes. So for rule, Archai Ganbat is the they them has been ruling the clan since the last sort of clan gathering was held. They have a strong hold on the clan, and they are young and eager. Others see us as ignorant barbarians who reject the ways of the empire and break taboos at a whim. However, we are true citizens unfairly pushed to the margins and judged.
Okay.
As far as doctrine and feature, so I took the fast travel, which is, so all of these groups have sort of their own mounted, so they have sort of different animals that they live with, but they're that are sort of appropriate for their the territories that they're in. But they're all sort of that the fast travel applies to all of them. And which band you might get depending on where you are in the empire depends on, like I said, where you are. And then live in the saddle. So that's again, my thought there was that. So my understanding of how the clan assets works is it goes down to the character.
Yep.
And so my thought was basically depending on which family the character was coming out of, or which sort of these groups, for sort of the given era, that the light or heavy beast may vary a little bit. There's the jungle folks have cats, and I think I said the desert folks had lizards.
Okay.
And those were more on the heavy side, and the horses were more on the light side.
I like that. And then you have the left now. And the two moves that you picked.
Yep. So I took beast handlers again, just pushing really hard on on the animal connections. I don't know if I should read it out, but it's
just give us a general sense of the two.
Yeah, there's basically various options for unleashing beasts on an enemy to do sort of take advantage of things during battle or other. And so I get to do that a few times during an age. And then life at the edge, which is basically sort of the nomad. You can, as long as you're out and moving around, you can get advantage on reach.
Now, one of the questions that is asked that is not kind of directly on the sheet, kind of rolled out on the results is about your clan's history during the war. And it's, how did you respond to the foe's attempt to co-opt you? And if you fought against them as raiders or fugitives, you start at +1 favor. If you served until the true darkness became openly known, you start as -1 favor, but you get 3 surpluses.
So I think they did the Brass Wisteria were more serving as raiders and sort of the the Temple of the First Fall was very close to the sort of Gonbot holdings up in the steppe. And so I think they sort of figured out maybe what was going on relatively early, and but didn't have, they didn't have sort of a full force to bear, right? That they're much more of a hit and run tactics than.
But importantly, you didn't yoke yourself to the forces of the foe. Okay, so you will start at +1 for your favor.
Okay.
There's a second question there, but I want to have you answer your world building questions first. So we go back up to the world building. So beyond the overland borders of the empire lie, and you get to pick 3 to 5 things.
Right.
And later on, we'll figure out exactly where they're at. But what are the things you want to have as sort of beyond the edges or just at the edges on our map?
Sure. So I think I like the trackless desert, having already sort of pulled on desert a little bit in some of my descriptions. I will also pick the ruins of a fallen ancient empire to double down on what Mike was saying. Let's see. And I think maybe in concert with that is the place of deadly verdant flowers and twisted fauna. I think those may sort of be together. Locale wise. And then do I see anything else? I think maybe some nomadic people that raid outside of our borders, as well as sort of the my clan that has kind of integrated with the empire.
Okay. So here the question is, how does the empire, our imperial court, our emperor, the sort of the establishment of the clans, how do they interact with those lands that are outside the imperial borders?
I think that explorers have been sent out sort of through these, because I think as I've sort of described, we end up with a lot of inhospitable stuff on the borders, and I think we've tried to explore, but I'm not sure that we've made a whole lot of progress.
Okay. In one place or in a couple of places?
I think in a few places.
I
think the emperor is interested in sort of expanding and or emperor's past perhaps, but I think there's that interest, but not a whole lot of success.
Any other picks you want to make from that list?
Well, I guess I just said the emperor eyes expansion into one of those places. So sure, we'll take that.
All right. Okay. All right. So I think that gives us a good sense of your clan. You have a couple of influence questions. You've heard, if you listen, you know who the other clans are. Let's look at those influence questions. So let's have you walk through those.
Right. So my first question is, which clan did you feud with before the war? If you put your grudges aside to fight the greater foe, gain an influence on each other. If you continue raiding in the midst of the conflict, they get an influence on you. Mike, how do you feel about having had a prior history that we put down to fight the foe when it came to that?
I like it.
Perfect.
They mark influence on one another. And then the other one is, which clan has never looked down on your history?
I think that Sherry, how would you feel about that applying to Crow Azalea?
I think that makes sense because we would probably talk with the kami that come with your animals and beasts, and we would know that you were held in regard. That makes sense.
So Crow Azalea will mark a influence on Brass Wisteria. Okay. And you have surpluses of scouts and livestock, which means at the start of the season, after we do the holding court, you'll get surplus morale as well. And you have needs for culture, transport, and fortifications. All right. So that gets us set. I'm going to let you at your leisure, add to the map, and you can choose those dark and light things and put those on there as you have a chance to. The folder is in the Google Drive with the little icon thing, so you can grab from there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create characters. We're going to choose characters for each of us, for the kind of person that we want to represent. Again, more than one person can be the same playbook, but I do want to kind of check in with everyone about what they're thinking, and we'll look at the character playbooks. For these, when you choose your character, you're going to pick a stat line. You're going to have some backstory questions that we'll do after introductions. You will get to choose a role that you're going to start with. And there'll be some gear that you record, and you get to pick some moves. Those are all there on that column. The other thing to remember is that whatever your clan is will give you an inheritance bonus, and so will give you a bonus to one of your stats. That is there. So Sherry, you were in a hot seat first last time, so I will move over one. Elle, what kind of character are you imagining? What playbook are you thinking about for your character this time?
Okay, once again, I have a top three. I'm looking at the courtier, the magistrate, or the spy.
Okay. Those are all good ones. Mike, and again, remember, you can't duplicate. Have you thought about what you would like to do for your character?
It's funny because when I looked at the names, I kind of put them in a certain order, and the one that ended up on the bottom is the one I'm most excited about, which is the merchant. The merchant.
Okay. So is that your top pick?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
All right. It's good to have a solid thought right out of the gate. Kale, what about for Brass Wisteria?
I will admit I have not haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, then do you want me to let Sherry say her thoughts and then come back to you?
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
Sherry, what are you thinking about?
Here's the thing. I love all of them. I do think it would be a darn shame if I were from the family of mystical and magical things and I did not play a Shugenja.
Okay.
So I do think that I would like to.
All right. So going for the Shugenja. Kale, so we have a merchant, definitely a Shugenja as well. We got a courtier, magistrate, or spy. So there still are some ones if you wanted to like go in other directions. If you wanted a more a forceful character, we certainly have then the samurai, the scout, and even the daimyo out there on the table.
Yeah, I think I might take immediately start by sort of playing to type with the clan that I've set up and take the scout.
Okay. So L, we have a merchant, a Shugenja, and a scout. Does that help you narrow your choice down?
I think I'll go courtier.
Okay. Of course, the great thing being that you may end up with other characters over time, so we're not necessarily throwing anything away. So I'm going to leave you all to work on that. Come up with a name for your character, make these choices. Once you've done that, we'll go around and we'll have introductions, and then we'll do the backstory questions. And again, as last time, now I'm going to sit here awkwardly.
I did have a quick question. I think we established last time how long ago the fall happened. It was fairly recent.
Yeah, I think it was in the last like 5 years, right?
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's my assumption. Yeah, it's within the last few years. Yeah.
It influences whether or not my character fought.
Okay. I'm also going to pause recording while we're doing this.
Okay.
So for Issei Minobe, he is from one of the two vassal families, not from the head family. Is he advisor to the head of the Minobe family, or is he advisor to the daimyo?
I think, yeah, he's the advisor to the daimyo. I'm not sure how that happened yet.
Okay. Is that unusual, or do you think that the daimyo surrounds themselves with people strongly from across the three families?
I think that as a result of the infighting that happened in Dawn Chrysanthemum, when the foe was coming to power, um, she meaning the daimyo, does not trust members of her own family as readily anymore. And so I think that's maybe why she's looked to one of the vassal families for her next advisor.
And you will know that the thing that is hanging over your daimyo is that it's become very clear that the people who are most benefiting from the political corruption, the ones who have most institutionalized that corruption, are from the Hanashiro family. And now you're kind of, entrusted with that, but you're not part of their family. You're kind of caught in an awkward position there. But I think that is the thing that is most pressing right now. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, that makes total sense to me.
Okay. Do you imagine that our Issei, do they have a big family? Are they an only child? Were they raised in some other way? What are you imagining for their like family life?
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that at all. He has a twin brother, an identical twin,
Okay.
who is a celebrated duelist.
Ooh.
Issei doesn't have those physical skills, really. He's more of a cerebral type of guy.
Is it between the two twins? Are your parents prouder of you as an ascending diplomat, or your brother as a valued duelist, or are they good about not giving favor to one over the other?
I think until recently, they were definitely and loudly much prouder of my brother.
Oh, okay.
And perhaps that's why I fought so hard and was so cutthroat in trying to achieve the position that I've achieved.
Excellent. All right, that gives, I think, a pretty good sense of who he is. We'll come back to you when we come back. We'll talk about those backstory questions. You'll pick at least one of them, but you can do up to 3 of them, and we'll come back on that. So next up is Mike. Tell us about your character.
Sure. Takashi Otojiro, the merchant, was too young to fight in the previous conflict. I'm envisaging that he might have lost somebody close to him, though, and I'm thinking it might have been the son of our clan leader, just because she's already in a weak position, and then that'll weaken it further. He's the nephew of the clan leader, so it would have been his cousin that he lost. I've given him the champion role, so I've been tasked to find a crucial resource, which, looking at the clan needs, I think might. Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you, like, is it related to one of the surpluses, or is it something else?
I kind of want to make it obsidian because I think he's been tasked with making sure we're prepared should this happen again.
Okay. Who?
Which is
Where do you think that is? Like
problematic because nobody has it.
Yeah, right now,
As a surplus anyway.
it's been used up during the war.
Mhm.
People have now that the fighting has gone, some of that's been lost and spread out into to collectors' hands. So where do you think this obsidian might be found on the map?
I think it's in one of the mountain regions. I'm trying to decide if it is better to put it in the west region or the eastern region. I think for the moment I'll put it in the eastern region.
Okay.
So we've got that Forge of the Sun off in the back of the mountains there. So there will be obsidian in those mountains somewhere behind Crow Azalea.
And who else is searching for it? Is it one of the minor clans? Is it cultists? Is it something else?
Ooh. I'm going to say cultists because that's my threat going into it.
All right. Yeah, well, they've got this cult, these cultists that are there that are representing a significant issue for your family. What did you take for moves?
So I took the perfect gift. So I can bring things to people to substitute a surplus or fulfill a need, and then I get benefits on that based on a roll. The other one that I took was bargains. So people that know my work and wares will offer me the best hospitality, and I can disarm their menace with cunning.
So your family defenders are very much protectors. They served as the front line and the shield during this war against the foe. What is it like to be a merchant among that family? Is that something that the family was involved with before and have turned back to? Is this a minor part of the family? Is it something else? What do you imagine?
No, I definitely think this is something new, that the family wasn't engaged in a lot of commerce before this, and they're kind of realizing that they need to, and Takashi in particular is kind of that young new generation after a conflict that is like, oh, we need to change.
And you have the perfect gift. You have these bargains. What is it? What is the ware or wares that you are carrying around that are unique or specialized or really interesting that your family has?
I'm not sure, but given the we've got the I took the shunned labor move for the clan, so I'm thinking it might just be a workforce. It might just be people.
Okay. That you have those recruits and people that you can bring to bear on task. Okay, I think that certainly is fair. And 21, fairly young. Okay. We'll come back to you with those backstory questions. Again, you can pick one. You're definitely gonna pick one, but you can pick up to 3, and I'll talk about the mechanics of that. Kale, tell us about your character.
Yes, so do a Ganbot. So he's older, maybe mid-50s. Definitely sort of weathered from being, having sort of life outside, but very, friendly and jovial. Let's see. So for a role, he's a leader in the clan, which in this case, sorry, I haven't played this particular system, so I'm not sure what the sort of marking role is. And
what it is with that role, the roles are things that occur you kind of look at them, and if you do the thing that is a roll, you actually change the roll, and then you mark it and it gets you in advance. At the start of the game, what we do is we kind of set up, this is the leader roll, this is the first roll you have marked. So what kind of expedition do you think that your character is going to be leading this year for the clan?
Yeah, so I think what does the clan need here? So I think the expedition here is actually a one of sort of, so we're not, you know, we're not long after this battle with the foe, and so I think Gambad is out, sorry, Dua is out trying to reach out to some of the other clans and kind of reconnect and get some more engagement of them, and with the Borderlanders to sort of cement.
So I think the biggest obstacle right now that you're facing is a lot of the clans are inward looking. They are looking to serve the emperor, but they're also looking to their own affairs, and assisting, interacting, diplomacy with the Borderlanders is not necessarily on their agenda. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. And what did you take for your moves?
So I took Eye of the Hunter, which allows me to get some advantages if I'm stalking someone quietly, and range far and wide, which lets me cover distances sort of more quickly than expected.
Okay. He's fairly older.
Yes.
Is he a husband, a father, part of a family, a widower, or never married? What are you imagining for him?
Yeah, I think he's got a he's married, and he has several kids who are, I guess I had said 50s, but yeah, 50s I think is good. So several kids who are grown or growing, maybe even a fairly large family.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Borderlanders tend to mix a lot, so that some of the older children are likely off with sort of other groups in the steppe, and Dua in this case has been tasked to sort of range out into the rest of the empire.
Okay. So married, you've had time to be a dedicated father, and now you're back to really kind of serving your duty, and your family is spread out a little bit more. Okay. All right. I think that gives us a sense of who you are. Last but not least, let's come to Sherry. Tell us about your character.
My character's name is Kimura Asuka. Shugenja. She's young. Again, after the terrible battles, was not old enough to participate in that at all. In fact, was probably back there when many people were coming to Crow Azalea for a safe place. So that was her childhood, was essentially that, with the town teeming with other clans, more so than it is today. I think that she is allowed to travel because it's her nature to be restless and to be going places. She comes across for a Shugenja as unserious, if that makes any sense. Curious, very observant. She is called after a bird because she is like that, very much going to, fly in and see what's coming, going on, and then, run away if anything looks dangerous. She's very, very curious, and she gets away with it a lot more than she ought to. I chose champion for her role. It's a thing of, Mark, when you are sent to understand a mystery, place, or creature, say 3 possibilities that I suspect for the truth, and the GM would say which one I can rule out. So I guess in the starting thing, I would begin as someone that I have been sent out to find out something, if that makes any sense.
Sure. So what kind of person is it you've been sent out? A lost Shugenja, a renegade wizard, a sorcerer of creatures, a lore keeper. What are you thinking?
I like the idea of finding another Shugenja that has been missing since the battles, but that like all of the signs suggest they're still out there somewhere.
Okay, so there's a reason that this Shugenja has not reappeared, that is alive but has not reappeared. What are the 3 possibilities?
Classically, one would be that he's made a promise to a kami that he cannot break, and it holds him in place. The second is that he's working on like a new thing.
Okay.
And won't reveal it. And the third is that something has gone terribly wrong. He and the thing is it's not that there's any sense of him being in prison, but that he is lost to himself.
Okay. So I think that you can rule out the second of those.
Okay.
So he has either made a promise to a kami or something has gone wrong.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Let's see. I took the moves way of the Shugenja because, of course, so that just allows me to do some magic. Yay! It's got a lot of rules. When I mess up, it's not happy for anyone. That's just the way it is when you're a Shugenja. I took the move way of the wind. It means that I can always roll Unearth Forgotten Lore with advantage. On a hit, I can ask an additional question in addition to whatever my roll results are. And I can also pick these questions, and I have a set of more questions. So I'm really just about finding out more information. And then I put my inheritance down there. So, I have an extra thing in lore.
Excellent. I haven't asked anybody what their death move is. Those can go up next to your thing, because I'm always lovely and surprised when that happens. And occasionally it does. So I haven't checked in on that. Only child, big family, Kimura, something else, raised just among Shugenja. What do you imagine that?
I think I'm the youngest of a remarried, like my father remarried, and so I'm the youngest, so I have older siblings.
Okay. Interesting. All right. We'll come back to you to talk about backstory questions. So I'm going to come back around, and what I'm going to do is have everybody do one backstory question, and then we'll come around, and you can do second and third. But I thought getting one in place is a good way to do this. With the backstory questions, you've got 4 choices on your character playbook listing. There's only space for 3 on the sheet. You will notice that is bad planning on my part. But I just wanted to give you a chance to do that. You don't have to ask more than one. One of the assumptions we're having is that all of your characters know each other and are friendly with one another, and this kind of establishes that. There is a mechanical benefit. If you are doing something with another character, assisting them or working with them on an action, and you have a relevant backstory, then you get advantage. So there is a mechanical benefit to having these connections that work kind of like bonds. So Elle, which of these do you want to start with? You can pick one and say, hey, I think this is appropriate for this person, or you can put it out there for someone to pick. What do you think?
Sure. I'm looking at my last one listed here. Blank saved my life when a negotiation went very wrong. I feel like since we're isolated on that little island down in the southeast, we're looking for new avenues of trade and just trying to like build those relationships. And I think maybe I was sent to the borderlands to try to feel that out. And things went poorly because I don't understand the culture there. And maybe Dua helped me out.
Yeah,
That-
that sounds good.
Awesome. Yeah. That seems very very good. And speaks of Issei's traveling quite a way. So that's another detail that's good. So next, Takashi Otojiro, which of these backstories would you like to start with?
Love all of these. They're amazing. I want to go with someone complicated a trade deal, but it ended up better for me in the long run.
Okay.
I'm thinking that's either Issei or Kimura.
I would happily complicate your life. So
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
So what do you think happened there?
Oh, I like the idea that she asked a question, an awkward question, like in the middle of things. And you managed to answer it stunningly well. Something like,
Mhm.
you know, that's the only thing I can think of is she was poking through the trade goods you had.
Something about the kami spirit. What are you
Exactly.
going to do with the kami spirit that's bound to this thing, or something like that?
Yes.
Excellent. I
Yeah.
like that. Dua, what about you?
I was looking at my last one and wondering if in that sort of interaction with Issei where I saved his life, maybe that he also taught me something about the value of sincerity, sort of, I feel like that I imagine a courtier plays both with sincerity and lack thereof in a very calculated way that Dua probably could have picked a lot up from.
Yeah, I think probably it's my insincerity that might have gotten me in trouble in part. So that makes sense. Yeah.
Nice. I like that. Kimura.
Ooh. I don't know. Let's see here. I really like my duty prevents me from being as close to Takashi Otojiro as I want because I kind of like the traits seem very interesting and all the things that he does, and he knows a lot about all kinds of things, and I like to ask the questions, and it's very fun to go along with him, and people are always excited to see him, but I'm supposed to be doing other things. But I really like to be with him, and he has good stories, and people, it's just very different than when I'm on my own. I think that's how it is. Yes.
That work for you, Takashi?
Absolutely. There was one that doesn't really come up from a backstory perspective, but we sent somebody to train as a Shugenja. We talked about in the session 0. I'm wondering if that might have been somebody that you knew.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can establish
Sure.
an NPC at some point that was among the Shugenja that your clan sent to the Mystic Clan. I like that. Issei, we're going to wrap back to you. You can ask one or two set of these other backstory things. Would you like to do any of them?
I'll just keep going bottom
Sure.
to top. So Blank and I have a history that is quite unprofessional. I think it would be interesting to add some romance in for Issei, but I of course don't want to force that on anyone. Given what was just established between Asuka and Takashi, I think it might be interesting if Kimura took this one, if Sherry, you're interested in that.
I would love to.
Because I think Issei might interpret your interest in Mr. Otojiro as romantic, regardless of whether it actually is or not. And that could be some interesting drama there.
Okay, that sounds great.
Cool.
Excellent. And do you think that's about Issei flirting with Kimura?
Yeah, I wonder. Sherry, I'll leave it up to you. Were we ever an item, like a proper thing, or like engaged even, or I don't know how far you want to take it?
Engaged, but not. I like the idea that that our families have talked about it. And then there was a certain thing of when they got both of us in the same room together that they all sort of backed out. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's interesting. And maybe
I
like,
just like the idea that your parents like went, oh, she's going to be so much trouble for him. And my parents were like, oh no, this will not work, as well. So
I like that a lot. And maybe Issei didn't like agree that it wouldn't work, but he kind of has to listen to his parents' wishes.
Nice. And do you want to do one more?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Blank told me something that was great for my clan and disastrous for theirs. Mike, are you cool with that being Takashi?
Yeah, but what did I tell you?
Good question. Let's see, what have we established between our clans?
I know we showed up at the 11th hour to kind of rescue your clan. Might it have been that we had ulterior motives for that?
Yeah. Do we want to establish what those motives were now, or just try to figure that out and play?
I have no idea what they would be, so I'm happy to figure it out.
Okay, yeah, let's just play to find out.
So there were some ulterior motives that, Mike, that your family had that you kind of revealed to Issei, and maybe that undercut those motives. Maybe in fact that your family was seeking this access to the stores of obsidian that were held by Chrysanthemum, and that revelation maybe kind of short-circuited those negotiations, something like that. That's just an idea out on the table, but we'll get that figured out. All right, that gives you 3. Let's come to Takashi.
Okay, so I'd previously picked the 3 that I wanted to go with, and I'm going to stick with them. But
Okay.
That leaves someone is the only friend I have with no strings attached. That could be Issei, but given that what we just established, it feels more likely that that's going to be Dua.
Sure.
So that question of having a friend that doesn't involve the families or negotiations or balancing trade thing that you have met him and become real friends.
Yes.
Why, like, that's unusual. You're a young man, a young merchant. This is an older member of a Borderlands clan. What is it that connected the two of you?
So from Takashi's side, did Dua fought in the conflict? Is that right?
Yes. Yep.
I think that's at least part of it, is that Takashi is excited to hear Dua's stories. And again, Takashi lost family in that conflict, so perhaps you fought side by side with one or more of those people and can tell stories about Takashi's family.
Nice.
Does that sit well with you?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Awesome.
Do you want to do one more, or are you all set?
No, I will do one more, because the last one is I owe someone for an exchange which put them at severe disadvantage. I would love for that to be Issei, if Ella's okay with that.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with that.
Like, what kind of exchange?
That is a good question.
Did you catch them in a trade deal that they were kind of obligated to follow through on, or was it a more personal thing, or something else?
Yeah, I think the trade deal thing works for me, if it works for Elle. And maybe that was part of me revealing that secret, that it was a give me this very good deal and I will tell you something.
Yeah.
Although it put you at severe disadvantage, not me. So I'm not sure whether or not that qualifies.
A courtier having to make a bad deal and pay out is probably a little bit of a disadvantage, kind of an embarrassment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially one whose position is already like highly scrutinized by others. I think like he doesn't really have a lot of room to like make false steps. So yeah, having to go through with something that is like clearly suboptimal for his clan, I think yeah.
Nice. Dua.
Yeah, so I think it feels very natural that the first one I have here go to Takashi, which is I don't think Takashi knows how much their friendship means to me.
That's
that works
great.
for you, Mike.
And why?
Yeah.
What is important about that friendship? We know what it is from Takashi's side.
Yeah, so I think there's a few things, but I think in some ways the Dua almost has sort of I mean, he has a lot of family back home, but he spends a lot of time out riding, especially he's on this sort of been on this kind of prolonged expedition to meet the clans. I think he may have sort of as Takashi has been sort of eagerly listening to stories and kind of looking up to Dua. I think in the same way Dua may have almost sort of looks at Takashi as a another son, or sort of has kind of feels a obligation is the wrong word. Yeah, I think just that sort of that it's almost like a familial relationship that has sort of sprung up. If that works.
I like that. And do you want to do one more?
Yeah. So, Sherry, I was wondering if Kimura might have taught Dua some sort of tricks for when he may have entered a place that has a lot of kami and he one of those sort of I guess I don't know how rare or common they are, but a place where perhaps just his knowledge of the land is not sufficient.
Yes, the hallowed land. that sort of thing when you go onto a place that is yes, I think that makes a lot of sense. She would have showed you the markers to look for, and essentially what the meanings are, and also gone through your kit for, like, as you're going, all the things to do to not offend the certain kami that, like, are attached to your beast in these areas and things like that. So that would have been the thing. So yeah.
I like it. I'm getting a very Princess Mononoke vibe through there. So that's great. That brings us to Kimura Asuka.
I think I don't understand how Isai can do the things they do. I think that I was around him and I got him in plenty of trouble, I realized, because I literally, the negotiating that he does, there's so many things unsaid, and there's so many rules that I have never heard of, and there are so many just so things that don't have anything to do with what's important in the world, but they're very important for what are the rules? It doesn't make any sense to me. And I think that I try to pay attention and try to learn them, but I still don't really understand how he knows what's the right thing to say to people of much higher power and much lower power, and which ones are and what. Yes, it's terrible.
That work for you, Elle?
Yeah, I love it. That's great.
And do you want to do one more, Sherry?
Of course. I think, and I have one left, is I want to teach Dua what's truly important. That is tied is that having, like, traveled with him a little bit and with his and like the stories he's told me, I've started to suspect that, in fact, there's probably a lot of kami and things that his people interact with without realizing so much, and that I would like to go down there and go and sort of spell those things out and teach someone to understand what those spirits are, and how to call them, how to be allies to them, how to understand what they need from you.
Does that work for you?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. We have backstory questions established. We have characters built. We're going to take our first break here. Kind of we're at the midpoint. We're going to take 10. We're going to come back. We're going to figure out about the Emperor's project, and then we're going to go to court. So take 10, and then we'll be back. So the next big question that we have is, who is the Emperor? The Emperor that we have now, the previous Emperor has died. Who is the Emperor that we have now? And from here for the next little bit, we're going to be going and looking at that Google Doc that has the Samurai Fantasy FFTY draft. And we're actually pretty far down. We're down page 110 on that. There are 3 possible forms of our new Emperor. And each of them kind of has some different shapes to them, different questions that we ask, different moves that they get, kind of set the tenor for things. So here are the 3 forms. Either we have an emperor who, when the last emperor passed away, someone from outside the imperial line rose up and was able to band the clans together and was able to turn the tide and fight back against them. They may have been a hero from one of the clans. They may have been a Ronin, something like that. They are a new imperial line, a whole new name, a new line that is going forward. That's one. Number 2 is the emperor died and everyone was freaked out because it's the last emperor, it's the fall of the imperial line, all of this. But it turned out that, in fact, there was a child of the emperor, very young, that had been secured to be protected, and that child has become the new future emperor, but someone else is the regent. There is a new regent who is taking care of this line. It might have been a friend of the emperor. It might have been somebody sworn from his family. It might be a surviving spouse of the emperor that is the regent. And really, that's the person that you're kind of working with, dealing with. They're the ones kind of calling the shot. The last option is what we'll call, I've called the lost child. And this is another child of the emperor, but this one was never going to be acknowledged. This one was sent away for whatever reason, whatever bloodline, whatever, outside the imperial line. This child was raised elsewhere and is a young adult, and has returned with proof of their identity. But they've been raised very weirdly, and have come back, and they are kind of, just now sort of setting themselves up to continue the old imperial line. So these are our three options that we're going to be looking at and figuring out. So, Elle, do any of those scream out to you?
I think I'm most taken by the first one, the new lineage.
New lineage?
But I don't feel too strongly about that.
Okay, no strong feelings. Okay, that's fine. Mike, thoughts? Ones that scream out to you?
I'll complicate things and say the last two were the ones that jumped out at me.
Okay. All right. Welcome back when Kale comes back. Sherry, you've played this before, and you're muted. So
I've seen all the disasters that come of these things, no matter what you choose.
do you have a strong preference for any of these? Or even a, please, let's not do this?
I could go without the regent,
Okay.
if
All
that
right.
makes any sense.
So the new lineage or the young emperor, your two choices there.
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. That helps us narrow things down. Yes. Yes, you're waving your hand. What are you about to say? Contradict yourself, or?
Me? No,
Okay.
I'm 100% consistent with myself.
Okay.
So. Nothing else, but myself, yes.
So, Kale, we have limited it down to two choices, which I'm now going to put in your hands. It is either this new lineage emperor or the young, not the young adult, child who was sent away to be raised elsewhere. Which one would you like? I saw you return back through your field. I had a friend who used to have like a gate, like a magic card gate, and he would always vanish into the gate. Shall I tell you what the three versions are?
I was just
each
reading
one.
the three versions.
So the new lineage is the reluctant daimyo. Basically, they don't want to be there. The second version of that is the one who's a Ronin and has brought the Ronin together. And the third one is the one who has really been brutally forged in iron by this. And then for the lost child, three versions are a child who was raised by Shugenja and monks, ascetic and mystics. the child who was raised by a group that were there trying to instill the ideas of discipline and order and duty and so on, or the child that was raised on the road by a group of vagabonds?
I think I'm feeling the new line.
The new line. Okay. So we are going to go with the new line. So we've got that, and I'm going to come back up to that. Come on. So we first decide we'll figure out the name later, I think is probably, but we got that. So L, we have three forms possible for this new emperor. Either he is a person who is reluctant to do this and works with caution, or he's a person who managed to bring people together by harnessing the power of the Ronin, or he is a figure that has been kind of forged in war and bloody battle. L, any of those that appeal to you, or you say no to any of those?
I'm looking at them real quick
Sure.
too.
Yeah.
I think I'm less interested in the last one, but the other two sound
Okay.
great.
So reluctant daimyo or master of the masterless. So Mike, now we come to you and we put this in your hands. Of those two, which one are we going to go with?
Master of the Masterless is the one that sticks out to me.
So during the war, the new emperor formed a guerrilla army of Ronin to fight the foe. Now in peace, many of the masterless have risen to positions of great power. They still command respect. And it means that they and the new emperor are aware of the movement of all troops. All right. So now we're going to walk through the flashpoints. These kind of describe what happened during the war. And I'm going to offer it out there, and anyone can take it if you would like. And that'll be a question that you'll answer and then a question that I'll answer. There are 6 of these. So for the first 4, I want everybody to pick one. And then on the last 2, if you want to take a second one, you can do that. So the first one is you were the first clan who recognized the new emperor and his army could offer hope. So anyone want to be that clan? Okay, Sherry, you raised your hand. So how did the new emperor convince you to join them?
The new emperor first traveled through the barrier hills, and came with the essentially gathered up the acknowledgments of the kami back there, the protected ones, and brought those to the daimyo of Croazalia.
So I think that the emperor got those blessings, but maybe there's still some problems, like some promises that are still outstanding. Okay. Because so many other things have occurred. So yes. The emperor has been mostly faithful, but there's a lot of still IOUs out there. Does that sound fair?
Oh, that sounds very interesting. Yes. Okay. I like it.
Next, you were the first clan to suffer at the hand of heroes who had been corrupted by the foe.
All right, I'll take that one.
Okay. What was the greatest loss that the foe inflicted on you?
I think they wiped out our initial strike force, which consisted of the first sons of all the houses, of all of our 3 houses.
The bravest and the brightest heading out to war and cut down the flower of their youth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the new emperor has probably exploited this a bit by deciding kind of which people are going to succeed to which lands and so on. I think that there's a certain amount of him taking advantage of that. Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Next is Carnage. You moved to counter the tainted forces, but found no glory, only bloodshed and death.
I'll take that one.
Okay.
I think in particular I think the new emperor was the one that decided that the Borderlanders needed to actually commit forces to a battle, as opposed to sort of their traditional and prior raiding, and they were not well suited to it, which was where the bloodshed and death came in.
Okay. And I think that loss certainly created. Let me quickly look back here at this. A sense of tension within your own clans, and maybe even that there was a fourth member of your fourth family in your kind of alliance that they moved and went over to the side of the foe. Elle, are you good with this victory question? You played a major role in the new emperor's victory in the final battle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how did your clan find glory in this final battle? I think it was due to the trickery of a family in my clan. Maybe it was Issei's family, the Minobe family. I think last time we established that the lord who was tainted came from the Elegant clan. So I think the Minobe family arranged an audience with him where they were going to allegedly turn over to his side and agree to secure all of these things for the foe, basically pretending to side with him, and that gave the new emperor's armies the opening to, and maybe it's like a Trojan horse sort of situation.
I like the idea that in order to have this trick work, that the emperor took many of the sort of ancestral relics and artifacts and weapons and armor and things for you to offer up to convince the foe that you meant business, and that many of those are tainted, and those are those things we mentioned earlier as a danger from the foe, these tainted items and weapons and things. So that was the sacrifice to allow your trick to proceed. There are two more, and these are open to anyone. As the conflict came to a close, your clan started agitating for the new emperor to retain power. Who do you think that would have been?
I imagine that it was probably Crow Azalea.
Okay. Why did you choose to act as kingmaker?
Because he had followed through on the promises that he had made, at least to defeat this foe. And any delay, all that we could see in the future was more blood. So it was a matter of it being handled as soon as possible.
Okay. I think that another faction that sought power was the sort of non NPC clan, the Eternal Sakura, our calculating clan. I think that they had hoped to put their own person into place, and they bear a long-standing grudge with you as a result.
Right.
And then last, as the land settled into peacetime, a threat within your holdings led you to seek the new emperor's help. Anyone want that?
I would take that one.
Okay.
So I think the losses suffered through the war led the Borderlanders sort of collectively to be more vulnerable to raids from the outside of the empire. Uh, and so we were looking for aid and support from the emperor and sort of holding off these
Okay. Yeah, I like
invaders
that.
from the outside.
I think that there has been bloodshed on the borderlands where some of the maybe peoples outside, we mentioned the ones that are kind of down in the south there, maybe pressed forward, trying to see, during this time of weakness, now that this supernatural foe is gone, if they could get something. And I think the emperor reacted with strength and has, with warfare rather than any kind of negotiation in those early days. All right. Sherry, this new emperor, male, female? Gender fluid, something else? What?
Wow. I really kind of like gender fluid.
Okay. And let's say that that's a I'd like to establish that maybe as a common thing, that there are people who move between those genders without any kind of question of their status or things like that. And that maybe for some people that's a phase, and for some people that is who they are, is shifting between those. Is the emperor old, young, middle-aged? Sherry?
I think that they're old, but my parents think that they're very young.
Okay.
So
Okay. We are going to, let's see, find a good name. We are going to call them Emperor Aoyama. Put that name up there. And I'm going to make some choices here because this is now the GM's place. I think that the new imperial style is a chaotic jumble of influences drawn from across the empire. No one has quite settled into that yet. There's a lot of room for development. There are a lot of influences around, and maybe the new emperor isn't sure how much they should be setting the stage. So chaotic jumble of influences. I think that in terms of ceremonies, that there is a Bright Lantern Festival, a kind of a modification of the classic Lantern Festival, but that is to remind people about the light of the emperor and such, and the protection from the foe. And then I think that each clan must tithe some of those that come of age to serve as the Emperor Samurai, that there are children from each of the households that are pressed into to learn and to serve in the Emperor's household. And well, we've established that the Ronin thing, so we will take the move Ronin legions. You can dress up these masterless souls, but at heart they're rough and uncultured. when anyone with positive favors tries to manipulate Imperial troops, they roll the subterfuge with advantage. So it's kind of a benefit to all of you. Okay. So that sets who our emperor is. Now, we are going to start with, I'm going to set what project we're going to be working on, but we're going to ask some questions about that because we're going to start with the kind of the easiest one. The project is a thing that is ongoing. And it's kind of in parallel to what your clans want, you know, taking care of your needs, dealing with your threats. The project is something everyone is contributing to. And there are mechanically, there are a set of surpluses that are necessary for the project. And when you deliver those surpluses, you increase your favor. And we put a tick on the project being completed. And when it's completed, the age turns, people get good stuff. If bad things happen and the doom clock runs through, as it did the last time I ran this, the project completely fails. The age turns, you still get some stuff, but with some costs. That's kind of how that works. So we're going to start with the grand construction. From across the lands, architects, engineers, masons, and haulers have been called to assist the emperor in constructing a grand edifice such as never been seen before. So, L, what is being built? I've got some example ideas there. We're on page 124 of the book.
Yeah, let's see. We don't have any roads on the map, which doesn't mean they don't exist. But it seems like perhaps as a show of the unity of the empire, we might want some restored, kind of more grand roadways.
So imperial roads, set as imperial roads, you know, both the setting them up and restoring them for easy travel and setting up imperial toll stations and all of that. Okay. So that is what is being worked towards, are these restored roadways. Tell me, Takashi, where on the map are they beginning that roadway construction? Where are they kind of starting out from, do you think?
If it's okay with Sherry, I think from Crow Azalea,
Okay.
heading across the kingdom east to west.
All right. So building the roadways from there. And who is the construction displacing or disrupting? You are muted.
I think that so we don't see it necessarily in this map, but I think the sort of the center of the empire here is kind of the fertile heartland of the empire. And unfortunately, you know, so in his zeal to connect the empire and sort of put a show of force, it's disrupting the sort of farming and feedstock base.
So some of the farmers that have become maybe a little more independent in these times, and some of those villages that have been established, these roadways may break up old lands and cause problems that way. Finally, Sherry, what problems will need to be overcome before the construction goes further?
I think that there has to be, oh man, there has to be that set of blessings from the kami that are along the road, and also probably those matters of established villages and things like that. So essentially that kind of rerouting and redefining those things with the new imperial edict. So there'll probably be a lot of negotiators, both civic and mystical.
Okay. So the surpluses that can be delivered are metals, artisans, engineers, recruits, lumber, order. And then based on what you just said, I've also added blessings and justice to the list of surpluses that can be delivered that will increase the path of the project. The project will get a negative mark when the construction collapses or subsides, meaning that something interrupts it, or there is, a natural disaster that occurs there. Those are possibilities. If saboteurs attack the building site, if there's a battle between the leading engineers, builders, and architects, and then also if turmoil in the empire goes above control. So at the start, the emperor has 5 points of control. Turmoil is a thing that can pop up as a result of clan moves, hard moves from the GM, all of those kinds of things. Which brings us to the Winter Court. The first year, the first big formal court that this new emperor, Emperor Aoyama, that they have held one of these. So, Elle, where is this being held? What place has been given the honor of hosting this first major event?
I don't think my own clan's gonna like this, but I think it's Crow Azalea.
Okay.
I mean, the road's gonna be built from there. They have a great relationship with the kami. Symbolically, it makes sense, right?
Absolutely. To signal the start of this project of roads that will be heading a little to the east, a lot to the west, and then down to the south to connect up. This project is starting out from Crow Azalea, also as a means for Emperor Aoyama for them to give honor for the blessings that the kami gave. And mechanically, we're going to begin with looking at holding court. And this is our move from the Favor and Ages tab. Beginning of each year, the Emperor calls on each clan to serve them. You're going to roll plus favor. So, Takashi, what is your clan's favor right now?
-1.
-1. So would you roll me 2d6 -1?
I will. I'll never get used to this roller not allowing me to enter -1. That's 5.
That is a 5. So I think that in this, that you find your clan given less regard, that your family is called in late in the order. They are given the base acknowledgments, and otherwise there's not a lot of perhaps honor given to the efforts that you've made, and others can see that you are kind of on the out. So you will lose an influence on each other faction that you have influence on. And I think it is that your family has traditionally been the defenders. They've traditionally been a family given over to works and building, defenses and things like that. But here you will find that the minor clan of Onyx Plum, who have their expert builders, they seem to be given all the honor and positions and things in this, and have certainly taken your place. Does that seem fair?
Mm-hmm.
And we have a picture of the Onyx Plum daimyo in the thing so that you can scowl at him.
Schedule it for my hate hour.
Yes. Dua, what? You have a +1 favor, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe I do.
Then let's have you roll
All right.
with this roller, which is a fickle mistress. That is a 7. So on a 7+, they have something they need from you. So the emperor calls in your family, the heads of your family in particular, your daimyo or your daimyo's representative that is there, and says, disturbing news has reached my ears that there have been vanishings amongst your family. This is the kind of thing that can cause upset and panic if people believe that there is some conspiracy or supernatural force or something that is working to those ends. You need to root out what is going on with that and put a stop to it so that the calm of our glorious empire is not disturbed. Do you understand?
Absolutely, my emperor.
Do this and you will find favor with us, but do not fail us in this. It is for your own good as well as the good of the emperor. Next is our Mystic Clan. Mystic Clan, what is your favor?
1.
Okay.
That means nothing, though.
It means nothing. This roller hates you with a white hot burning passion. So
always has, always will. So here we go. Ah, yes, there we go.
So you've been given this honor here, and I think your family expects some of those other promises of the kami to be fulfilled, but they aren't. Other things are dealt with. This project is an honor, but it's not the honor that your family wants necessarily, right?
No, we're fine with walking.
So you will find that the emperor seems to be satisfied with what you've been given so far. And it's very clear that it is something of a snub to you. So you are going to lose an influence on each other faction.
Wow, that's a lot of loss.
Yes. And
so literally I uncheck 3 of my boxes.
One of your boxes from each of the clans that you have influence over.
Okay. So that's like all my influence except for 1.
And I think that let's see. I think it makes sense that that in some ways it is the Imperial scholars who are kind of taking your place. They are of the old Imperial line. They've clearly had access to the Emperor, and they are scholars and artisans, but they're also very good at speaking with the dead. They don't speak with the kami, they speak with ancestor spirits. And it's clear that that council has risen to the fore. Does that seem fair?
Yep.
Okay. And last but not least, can you break this string of tragedies? Elle, let's have the elegant clan roll. What is your favor?
1.
Okay.
Oh, good.
So, what do you what you will know is that, and I think this certainly worries Minobe Issei, is that rumors and word of that political corruption that plagues your family has gotten to the emperor's ears. And that while you're not called out on it, it's very clear that that is worrisome to them. And it is the kind of scheming, calculating family of the eternal Sakura, who certainly have been spreading that word and insinuating themselves in places where your family has traditionally had authority. Sound okay?
Sounds great.
Tell me something about, and this is for our Crow Azalea person, about this holding, this where this winter court is being held. This is the capital, your main holding. You assigned some traits to it.
The waterfall, the many bridges, and the crops, the fields outside. I think one of the things is that for the court itself, it's held in, of course, the castle, but it is specifically held at the highest floors of it, where there are these great big panoramic views of the 4 directions, one of which looks up to the mountains and the waterfall, one that looks to, the west, where the sort of wilder woods and things are, to the south to the fields, and then to the east to the mysterious barrier hills. So it's a sort of important compass to the thing. It's also very striking that you look out one side of the room and it looks very different than any one of the other ones. So it's a very striking and very unique set of place where they are set.
Okay.
So
definitely a feeling that there's a message to the views there to be deciphered. Minobe, what has been the mood of your daimyo during this situation of Hanashiro no Hatsune? Calm about it, worried, angry? Like what has she done or said?
I think that she has outwardly been behaving exceedingly politely. I think she has a coldness about her, and I think it's difficult to read her, or most people find it difficult. I think Issei, on the other hand, is very attuned now to the vagaries of her emotions. And he can see that she is seething. Like, as soon as we are out of earshot of the rest of the attendees of court, she is going to have words for him.
And there is some anger and ranting before you are dismissed, so that she can think over things. And think we see you out walking here in the castle. What draws your eye? What is to your aesthetic taste? Are you looking at paintings? Are you looking at gardens? Are you looking at the land itself? What draws your eye?
I think it's less even about the sites. I mean, the seat of Don Chrysanthemum's power is itself like an exceedingly beautiful place. And I don't think he thinks any other place could measure up.
Mm-hmm.
But here, there's a sort of peaceful quietude about it. Like he can hear the stream of water in a fountain. He can hear the tittering of birds in the trees. He can hear like it sounds like the wind is whispering in his ear almost. Just those like small sounds of nature are there.
Excellent. I think as you wander around, you'll see that. I mean, one of the views takes you out close by, kind of overlooking that waterfall that comes down, where you hear the roaring of that. I'm going to put you kind of on that scene in a kind of an overlook of that. Dua, why are you here? What brought you to the Winter Court? How did these circumstances come that you should be here?
Yeah, so I think um, names. Archai is here in person, representing the Borderlanders, but they asked Dua to come with them because he had been out sort of interfacing with the other clans and attempting to kind of make contacts. And so I think he was maybe doing that in preparation for this this Winter Court, and then the idea was that he would then be able to perhaps know some folks at the court and be able to kind of connect Archai and sort of help help sort of have another web of connections at play.
So you are in between sort of obligations, walking around the palace, and you will see standing kind of looking off, thinking, kind of listening more than looking. You will see your friend Isai Minobe. You know that things have not gone particularly well for his clan. So are you more boisterous in your greeting or more restrained, or what does that look like?
Yeah, I think Dua is boisterous in general, right? So I think he comes over a very a heavy sort of clap on the shoulder, like he say, so good to see you again. Um, it's been a long time.
Um, Issei is still a little kind of reddened from his dressing down by his daimyo, but I think as soon as he hears your voice, it's like his expression changes, like almost like he slipped on a mask, and he turns to you smiling. Yes, it's been quite some time, and how fortunate that the day that we meet again, you have been conferred the attention of the Emperor.
Attention, yes, but we he has given us quite a task. But I have hopes that we'll be able to accomplish it for him, but we shall see.
He sort of cocks his head to the side. And do I hear in your voice doubts? to accompany those hopes?
Certainly we've known about, the rumors have been running through the borderlands of people missing, and we have very little information so far. And so I hope we can gather some to put the matter to bed. We can't afford to lose any more of our people, and now the Emperor's tasked us with resolving the matter.
Well, do let me know if I can help. Trade negotiations I might not be so skilled with, but secrets I can find.
That would be fantastic.
Kashi, I think that there is no doubt that Dua's voice carries. And I think that as you wander the halls, you hear the tones of your old friend, and he will come up and you will see Manobe Ise and Dua in conversation. What do you do?
Can I grab a plate of strong drink of some description to carry over to the two of them?
Dua,
Good
Ise.
friends.
Takashi, what? This looks lovely. Dua takes and takes a pretty strong, a pretty deep draft of whatever Takashi has brought over, perhaps more than is warranted by the strength of the drink.
And Takashi will offer the other one to Issa.
Issei takes it with a graceful hand and like the most precise bow you've ever seen. Not too low because Takashi is much younger than him, but yeah, he'll gracefully accept it.
And I think just to finish the quartet, I do think that again, the sound of Dua's voice has carried and perhaps made you curious as you're going through the halls there, Kimura, and you will see this trippage, this trio of people that you know gathered together in your household, effectively, drinking and chatting.
I'm delighted. I sort of pop up in the middle of them, and I'm like, oh. Just got out of a meeting with the daimyo. He has listed all of the things that we have to do. I am very happy to have some other conversation. What are we talking about?
We were about to toast, but I
am all for that.
we should toast to our wonderful hostess.
Oh. And she looks around for the hostess. And then she goes, I'll go get some more drink. She'll be back.
And I imagine we cut forward a few minutes to the four of you seated there, drinks brought, maybe servants have brought over some food as well, and you can relax a little bit out of the earshot and view of others from your clans to talk amongst yourselves privately. Manobe, how do you feel about this gathering of this 4 people?
I think he's actually like quite happy to see Dua again after some time. So there is definitely a warmth when he interacts with him. But I think he has like chosen very strategically to sit himself. I'm imagining we're at like a low square table. So he's sitting in a space next to Asuka so that he doesn't have to look at her directly. and across from Takashi so that he can like read Takashi's every emotion and action as he interacts with Asuka.
And Dua, where do you seem like a kind of person who would certainly set the tone and direction for the conversation.
Yeah, so I think it Dua's sprawled a little bit on a couch or something something to that sort, and I think has been maybe holding forth with some stories of his travels of sort of the past year. That it's been around the empire a bit and has collected some humorous anecdotes and perhaps some tales of daring do. And since I don't think these four maybe have seen each other in a while. I think he's just I mean, in some ways, just sort of filling the air. But
Ashi, do you direct the conversation, or are you fine to kind of just have this sort of meandering discussion?
No, I think I'm definitely pestering Dua for information about various stories. Tell me again about the village in the north.
And Asuka?
I think she's very curious because she can see that Du is telling stories and Takashi's sort of encouraging him to. She keeps looking at his side to see what he's doing and like how he's reacting to it, because she knows that he has some different game going on, but she doesn't know what it is. So she's trying to figure it out. So you see her kind of watching this. See what I'm looking at.
So what do you tell them about what is on your plate for your clan, Asuka? The Emperor hasn't tasked you with anything, but of course there is the road project, and there is the threats, the strange earthquakes.
Mm-hmm. And let's be clear, the needs are outnumbering the surpluses. So there are a lot of things that need to be addressed and handled. And I think she sort of kind of eventually sort of leans in and says, I think that I'm going to be traveling this coming year. I have the sense that a lot of us will be out taking care of things for the family. So hopefully I will be able to visit each of you. Or perhaps you should sort of stop and go, if we leave from here, we could all travel together. And she kind of
It's
goes,
auspicious that we should have a year of traveling, given the Emperor's plans to reconstruct the roads.
we could follow the route.
Indeed, it might be the last time that we can follow the route not on the roads.
You're thinking, and then she turns and looks at you.
I think Issa had just opened his mouth to probably say something non-committal. He does that a lot. And I think instead he kind of finally turns to look at Asuka probably for the first time since we've all come together. And he just like raises an eyebrow. Why do you keep looking at me like that?
I think it's a really good idea, don't you?
I think that there are many things that I must do back on our island. I think, and he sort of talks in circles, but the message is there are really important things that I need to do for my clan at home. Um, though you can see in his eyes, Oscar, that he wants to be convinced, I think. He
You're
would
getting
rather spend
quiet,
time with you.
Elle.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you were just getting a little dimmer there.
Yeah.
Oh, what was the last thing you heard?
You were saying that he had important things to do, but you can tell that and then it got a little quiet for me.
Oh, I think Oscar can see in his eyes that he wants to be convinced because he would much rather spend time on the road with her.
I think it would be a really good idea. We could combine our strengths. I'm sure there's important things that need to be done along the way.
Certainly, we out on the borders would certainly appreciate some aid from some of your clans in the interior. It's been a hard few years. We've been getting having a lot of incursions from the outside, and you say maybe you could. I've been trying to drum up support by myself, but perhaps you could help me convince some more. So gather some more aid to send out to the outer regions.
And perhaps if I were to do that, we might come to a successful trade agreement as well.
It's like a win-win.
So it is.
So I want to kind of put it like, I think that's a good point for us to maybe pull away with the idea that our characters may travel together, may work together, the situation may arise. But I want to go back now. We're going to zoom out from this to the clan level, because the clan level kind of sometimes sets up things that need to be done at the character level. So we're going to go to that, and I'm going to start with our chrysanthemum, with Dawn Chrysanthemum. What are the needs that your family has right now?
Let's see. We need trade, rice, and koku, which I think is like salaries for our samurai.
Yeah, cold hard cash. So that means the budget is kind of tight, amongst other things. So let's look at the clan moves that we have here. There are basically sort of 3 clan moves right now that are in play. Read the Wind is our gather information. Typically, if we want to find out where to get a surplus, or we want to find out about a threat, or we want to investigate at the clan level, that's for that. Claim by force is if you know of something that you want to deal with, that you want to grab a hold of. Claim by force is used for that. And then subterfuge is the sneaky way of doing everything. There's also using your influence, spending influence to do things. And there's always, if you have a surplus and there's a problem and you think that surplus can solve the problem, you can spend it to solve it. Last thing, this is kind of for everybody, is you can also expend one of your surpluses towards the project. We just roll logistics for that and move forward. So what do you think is most pressing for your family that they need to be working on, Elle?
Let's see. And you're talking about addressing needs specifically, or just anything?
Anything. Yeah, whatever you want to do.
I feel like my clan is definitely preoccupied with rooting out this political corruption. Um, let's see, which move would be best for that?
Want to kind of determine the shape of it? Maybe start with read the wind.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay. Then let's go ahead and have you roll with your clan's reach. What is the reach for your clan?
I believe it's 0, but let me double
Okay.
check. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So I'm going to pause now to talk about the mechanics just briefly. There's a weird reversal that happens in this game. When someone goes to do a clan move, other people can lend aid. You can ask for aid, or other people can lend aid. They have to declare before you roll, and you gain advantage. It's the opposite when you roll at the character level. And I'll just remind you of that, where you can do stuff after you roll. But I just wanted to mention that so we know the mechanical of that. But so would you like to roll with reach?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Look at that. Strong roll.
Where was that 10 earlier?
Yeah, I know. So you've got 2 hold, which allows you to spend that hold 1 for 1 to ask those questions. There are some specific ones there, and then there's one at the bottom that's the other similar large scale question. That's at the ask whatever you want item that's on there. And because you rolled a 10 plus, once you've asked your questions, you can if there's something you want to mark on the map based on the answer. So what do you want to know?
I think what I'm looking for is like, what are the movements of those who are still loyal to the foe's cause?
Oh, you mean amongst your clan or
Amongst my
general?
clan specifically.
Okay. I think that there are signs that there are ships and trade that are kind of going off and are being exchanged with an area. You see that sort of big island that's below the barrier hills that's offshore? It's got a bad reputation, ghost haunted, that kind of thing. But I think that your clan will find that there are people from amongst your families that are sending goods there, making trades, and quite possibly involved with the conspiracies and the cults. Does that seem like a fair answer?
Yeah, love it.
Okay. And then you've got a second question because you've got 2 hold.
I will use my second hold to take advantage forward, acting on the answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that advantage will go towards the next clan move. Do you want to mark that like evil base on the map?
Yeah, will do.
Okay. Takashi, what clan move do we want to make for your family?
Before we do that, I have a start of year move. Should I be doing that now?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So Ghost Arrows has the shunned labor move. So we work the jobs that mainstream society is unwilling to perform. At the start of each year, this gives us a surplus coin plus another surplus, and then I get to define what the work is. I think, I mean, given everything that's been going on, I would take the middle option, which is that it breaks mainstream society's taboos.
Okay.
I think we're mask making, which I think was established as an art that was out of favor, which means that we gain need prestige, and then the other surplus I would like to take as artisans.
Okay. Absolutely. So you are doing a thing that people have started to view as like, no, we just can't do that. That's just,
Don't do that.
yeah. All right.
Is the life on the edge, does that also trigger at the start of the year? It says gain surplus morale if you do not possess it each year,
Yep.
so long as you do not have need
so you'll
lives.
get that.
Okay.
Yep. Takashi, with that in mind, what is it that your clan is doing?
So we have more surpluses than needs at the moment, and given that our position within the empire is shaky, I would like to donate the engineering to the project.
Okay.
We'd like to send some people to
Absolutely.
help with this road construction project.
So that is you will mark off that surplus, and you will roll plus your clan's mood before you would mark that off. So how many surpluses do you have and how many needs?
I had 6 surpluses and 4 needs.
So you're going to
So it's
roll
+2.
this with +2.
That's an 8.
So that is an 8. So there is a delay with it. The roads are in bad shape. You can either reduce your favor with the emperor or spend an influence from someone, or it will arrive at the end of the year.
No, we'll have it arrive late.
Okay, so make a note that's right. You're not going to get any of the favor, and we're not going to mark that until just before we hold court again. Okay. Dua, what clan move do we want to resolve for your clan?
Yeah, so I think we're going to be reading the wind, and I guess sort of trying to, well, I guess I'll roll first before I try and figure out what I'm figuring out. 2d6 plus reach, so 0. 0. So
yeah.
7.
That's a 7. So you have 1 hold.
Yeah. So I think the clan is trying to sort of still sort of shore up their defenses. So I think that the question there is, I guess it's sort of where do we get surplus fortifications? Perhaps I don't again, not sure exactly
Absolutely.
how that.
I think that there are a set of ruined castles that are particularly that northern border that have kind of been occupied by bandits and Ronin and such, that if you can clear those people out or do some kind of deal with them or something, those would provide a strong sort of fortified line for your family in some settled places. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay. And on a 7 to 9, you get to choose an ally to mark the map.
Okay.
And they'll mark where those fortifications are. So you can have one of the other players mark that.
Why don't you mark them, if you would be so kind?
Yeah. Just give us a fortification somewhere there in that northern area.
Okay.
Asuka Kimura, what for your family?
I am very sad because I actually have a move that was meant to be used for the favor roll with the emperor.
Oh, okay. Which is
when the emperor is holding court, you may choose one, praise the emperor and the virtues and gain an advantage on the favor roll, or correct the emperor's actions and gain disadvantage on the favor roll, but erase one need. In addition, our clan members will generally be invited to officiate any significant weddings, funerals, blah, blah, blah. So
let's go back. So you rolled 3 and a 1. Would you like to roll another d6 for your advantage?
Sure. I mean, it's the roller, so that gets it up to a 6.
Okay.
So still fail.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's the roller. So we all know. Yeah. So, but does that count as my clan move?
No, it
then?
does not.
Or is, okay. So then I have another one. And this is essentially a sort of eyes of the ancestors. So they may gather to seek a truth about the past. It's going to be done in one of two ways. The first is that your clan rolls plus reach. On a 7 and 9, they generate 1 hold. On a 10 plus 2 hold, then you spend that hold 1 to 1 to ask for any of the following questions. Alternatively, if I participate in the invocation, they may see a past event through the eyes of the people there and feel what they feel. They cannot control the precise point. I think that at this point I will do the more general thing that
Okay.
essentially it's our lore masters doing this. So our reach is currently 2. And so I got an 8.
Got an 8.
So that's 1 hold.
So what is it you want to know? And also note that with Eyes of the Ancestors, for 1 hold, you can also declare an answer.
For 1 hold, I thought it said for 2 hold.
Under Eyes of the Ancestors,
Yeah.
spend that hold 1 for 1 to ask one of the following questions.
Oh, I can declare a thing.
Yeah, that's the advantage of that move.
Okay. Ooh. Interesting. I think that I get a message that comes back to me, and I gotta look at the map though.
Okay.
And I think that we get a message that essentially, if we proceed to the memorial to the duel of Hirohodo and there's that duel that's on the other side of the river.
Mm-hmm.
If we proceed there directly, that we will find something that will lead us to what it is that is harrowing Dua's clan.
Okay.
Okay.
So we know you will learn that. So that presents us with a potential zoom in for next time that we may pursue. Got that on the table. We know that that is a thing, and that'll set us up going forward. So that'll be our session. I would like to do a quick stars and wishes. Stars being things that you enjoyed. Talk about play. I know we only had a little bit of play, but just in general. And then wishes being things that you want to see more of, that you want to definitely see for your character, or things you want to see less of. So I'm going to stick with the same order. Elle, is it okay if I have you start with stars and wishes? We usually people do both.
Oh no.
Yeah, and you
fine.
can say pass if you want to.
No, I can improvise.
Okay.
Yeah, stars to Yulil for facilitating what I find to be like a completely overwhelming amount of information, and shepherding us through this whole process really smoothly and seamlessly, and in a way that my tiny peanut brain can handle. Stars to my fellow players. I think all the characters are really interesting and diverse in a very interesting way. And I'm excited to see how these relationships develop. Yeah, I'm looking forward to for wishes. I'm really looking forward to seeing the manifestation of the foe and the taint, or like whatever we're calling it, in play, because I think like what we collaboratively came up with is like super, super cool. So I'm excited for some potentially creepy or like cinematic kind of fight scenes. I think that would be fun. But yeah, otherwise I don't have anything
All
in
right.
particular.
No, but that's a really good point. I like that, the sort of the slight horror that we have lying out there. Mike Takashi.
Yeah, so I had I try and take notes on these along the way because otherwise I forget them. Sherry talking about the views from the Capitol, and that was really evocative and really great. And the just Asuka's bubbliness of just seemingly popping up out of nowhere and just being super excited to see everybody. I loved that. That was amazing. Elle similarly talking about the sounds of nature being of interest to Issei. That was that I don't want to say it surprised me, but I wasn't expecting that, and it that was a really beautiful moment. And I love Issei just being kind of generally evasive and watching everybody, and already is a smooth operator, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that develops. And the Kale Dua's boisterousness of just I already have a really clear picture in my head of this character of who this is. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. And yeah, Lol, as always, managing to weave together everybody's things into something coherent is I am in awe of that skill. In terms of wishes,
yeah.
It already feels like a complicated situation, and I imagine it will get more complicated as we go along. So I'm looking forward to that, of just seeing this develop. I've been excited about Legacy in general for a while and Free from the Yoke, so this is my first time doing that, really, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that develop. Other wishes I had, it feels like we started to set up a complicated triangle between Asuka, Takashi, and Issei, and I'm looking forward to seeing that develop. And also, I would love for Takashi to maybe have a private meeting with Asuka to get her questions out before they happen in public, given the previous entanglement that we had.
Awesome. Dua, Kale.
I'm muted. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like everyone said, Lowell, your games, especially this one, this feels even more sort of sprawling than the last one I was playing in, with the the sort of the interaction of both the clans and the characters and the the sort of the history that we're all developing. So keeping that all straight and weaving things together in a sort of very like a very nicely knit form has been great to watch and be part of. I loved the Asuka Issei interaction of like Asuka's very watching Issei, and he says like wait what's happening here, why why are you all up in my business. That was a fun just like a fun I think I think I highlighted both those characters very well. And yeah, Mike, I need to take your like just start doing what you do and take notes, because I things just tend to get lost.
Yeah, this is a game where I'm almost tempted to turn on the AI meeting summary. I may check in with people, and we may do that just for private use, because we've done that with Rich's game, and it provided a very interesting transcript and a call for action at the end of the meeting. Okay, yeah, but that's a I'm going to mark that down kind of a wishes.
And then just I think I'm looking forward to seeing some more zoom ins with the characters we've got going as the sort of year progresses.
Awesome. Sherry.
So I played the legacy game with L5R when it was a classic Rokugan one, and I had a great time, but I really love this world even more. It's complicated. I also would love if we did the AI notes, even though sometimes there's a certain amount of word salad in the middle, they get all the keywords for the most part, and a lot of times that's all you need. So I think that would be great. I really, really love the characters. I think that we have 4 strong, different characters with a lot of the best kind of friction and attraction that you get out of like that you ever got out of Rokugan, out of the L5R thing. So we've got all of that going on. L was fabulous as the careful and much more how do you say, socially astute and tactical than perhaps the rest of us. And Dua was just the soul that makes everyone radiate around them because you can't help it. He's going to call you out. And Takashi is solid and careful and kind, and that's all the good things that you want in the world in your companions. So really good, really wonderful. Let's see here. Wishes. Damn you, roller. So the unkindest roller. I don't know what it is. The roller is always very not fully random so far as I can tell. This is always how it feels to me. So, but I congratulate Elle on their excellent roll. The sole one of the evening actually hit 10 from all the different rolls. I really am looking forward to these zoom ins as we sort of travel this area and we get this defined, because there's that sort of nice meaty thing that as the characters we get to see the world, and then the clans get to change the world. And so I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I am going to stop the recording now.